Hi, in this demonstration I will show you how to utilize the Checkpoint CME API for Azure Virtual WAN. This new API enables you to create a CME controller, register the Checkpoint NVA gateways in the Checkpoint management, and configure the Azure external load balancer for Ingress traffic. In my environment, I already have a Checkpoint management server with the latest CME package version 289. And on this management server, I'm going to enable API access, so I will be able to access from Postman to the management server. So Postman is already installed on my machine. I will download the CME API Postman collection and import it into the Postman. I also have a virtual WAN set up with hub in West Central US, but currently does not contain any NVA. Next, I'm going to deploy the NVA from the marketplace. If you wish to use the full set of threat prevention blades, select the second option for NGTX. For Ingress use, you will need to assign a public IP. Note that if Ingress isn't enabled during this deployment, and you will need Ingress in the future, you will need to redeploy the NVA. Deployment will take about 10 minutes. So now the deployment is complete. We will switch to Postman. The first step is setting the global parameters such as the management IP address, username, and password. We have a predefined authentication pre-request script that automatically execute before any API request sent to the management server. So the first API that we are going to use is the one that is going to create a controller on the management server. The controller provides the access credentials for the CME to interact with Azure API. And during this step, we are going to assign a name for the controller. We'll put the subscription ID, directory ID, application ID, and secret. For this demonstration, the parameter deletion tolerance is not relevant for NVA because it's just being used for VMSS deployment. So if you are planning to deploy VMSS in the future, you will need to set this parameter as well. And since I'm not using an MDS, I will mark the domain parameter to be ignored. The environment I'm using is a standard Azure cloud. And now that all the parameters has been set, I will send the request. With the controller set up, we can provision the gateways on the management server using additional CME API call. And here I will copy the controller name first, and I'm going to use it on the post-provision Azure vWan NVA request. I will also specify the NVA managed group resource name and the NVA name. For the body parameters, the SIC will need to be encoded as a base 64. So let's do that. I will want to install the default policy, which is the standard policy. You can install any policy package that you want. I'm going to use the standard, the default one. And I'm going to activate all the threat prevention blades, including the identity awareness blade. And after sending the request, I will verify the process by running the API request status. And I'm going to see the process that is running inside the Smart Console. I will have a visibility to see the NVA being registered and configured, and then I will see the policy being pushed to the gateways. With the gateways provision, we will configure the Ingress traffic. First, I'm going to create a public IP address. Alternatively, you can use the public IP address created automatically during the CloudGuard NVA deployment. And this new public IP will be then attached to the NVA, effectively linking it to the external load balancer. And now that the IP address has been attached, we will create an inbound rule on the load balancer using an API request. And the last step is to configure the checkpoint side. I will set up the necessary access rule and NAT rules. As the public IP that is attached to the elastic load balancer, to the external load balancer, which is a floating IP, The layer 3 destination IP address in the packet received from the load balancer will be the public floating IP address, and we will use this IP address in the access and NAT rules. So this is it for this tutorial. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment. Thank you.